Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the sixth episode of the Fantasy Podcast. Today, we're joined with a very, very special guest, D3 pitcher on Bard. Kush, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Andrew Kushke, otherwise known as Kush. I go to Bard College in Annandale and Hudson. That's the backdrop I have. And I play baseball there, and we're in the Liberty League, and, here to talk about some baseball.
I'd like to mention Ithaca did beat Bard, but Kush did not let up a hit. Impressive performance. We're going to start with a surprising player from this past weekend of MLB. Oh, yeah, we're covering MLB today. Next podcast on Tuesday, I'll be covering fantasy sports top performers. We're just going to go into a couple players and teams today. Kush, who do you have as a surprise player, a player who really stood out this past weekend?
I wouldn't say, maybe this past weekend, but I would say just like someone to take a look at this whole season is Bobby Witt Jr. Again, made it up to the show this year, and he's 21 years old, drafted out of high school, and he's such a promising prospect that I think he's definitely a guy to look out for.
I'm glad you say that. I do not personally know who he is, but definitely watch out for him. Someone who I had that played really, really good was Stephen Kwan on the Guardians. He hit very, very well. He went 1 for 2 on opening day. He went 2 for 3 on Saturday and 5 for 5 on Sunday. I have a hot take that he could surpass Tedelo Vargas' 1943 record of batting .471. Hot take to watch out for the rest of the season. Now we're going to be going to disappointing players. Kush, who do you have that disappointed?
I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm a Mets fan. So what
I'm
just
shirt, by the way. Mets shirt.
Oh, love that. Love that. Shirt. We already got Jacob deGrom out for the season. Not for the season, but, just for a little while. And, everybody's always talking about, Jacob deGrom MVP, best pitcher. Yes, he's a great pitcher, but the guy can't stay healthy. What stats is he gonna get? What awards can he get?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Anthony Davis.
Yes, exactly.
Great comparison. Someone who I had was Cedric Mullins, Orioles. He played really, really good last season, but he did not play good this weekend. He hit 30 home runs, stole 30 bases, 9th in MVP last year. Even though the Orioles suck, he had a rough few games against Tampa this week. And that's just rough to see from a player who, especially on like one of the worst teams in the MLB, you expect something good out of that guy, when you got such a bad team. We're going to move on to teams that were a little bit good this past week. I'm going to start. I'll go ahead and say the Rays were really, really good. Solid team. I didn't expect them to not be good, but, when you take care of business like that, they've won 15 games in a row over the Orioles. I'm not saying, it's super impressive win, but, they took care of business. Kush, who do you have?
This past week in the AL, the Astros 4-2. I mean, I know they're not the fan favorite of the MLB, but I mean, hey, they're still great lineup, good pitching. Another team I would also say, my very own Mets. Starting off 5-2, and a lot of promising signs there for them. Great hitting, pitching's looking pretty solid too.
They almost had a 4-0 start. They were close.
Almost.
They were close. But speaking of the Astros, you're speaking of the Astros. I actually have something here. I was going to say, I don't think the Astros can slow down. I don't think anyone's going to stop them. People hate the Astros. All right, I hate the Astros. No one likes the Astros. That's it's well received around the league.
No one likes a cheater,
Yeah, no, no one likes a cheater. But the Astros, I mean, they killed the Angels. I mean, they dismantled them. I mean, it was embarrassing for the Angels. And I gotta say, I just don't see anyone slowing them down. And I was actually gonna go into this a team that let down. I was gonna say was the Angels. When you get Mike Trout back, you have the reigning MVP. You have two of the almost best players in MLB, and you don't play that good. You go 3-3. Sure. I mean, it's brutal.
And the Angels, they got Noah Syndergaard from the Mets. I mean, this guy throws up to 100 miles an hour. I mean, the guy's the real deal. And like you said, two great players on the hitting side as well.
You want to see something better, you just look at them and you can say same old Angels, at that point. You can just say, dumb it down to that. But another team other than the Angels that disappointed was, I thought, the Brewers. I thought the Brewers didn't play too good. They got blown out on Saturday. They lost on opening day. Just kind of sucks. You don't want to see that from the Brewers. Obviously, a little rough, but who do you have? Who do you have as a disappointing team, Kush?
Disappointing. Well, I would say there's a lot, right? But
Yeah, I think there's a lot.
there's a lot. But I would just say, yeah, it's a tough one. But I think the Tigers, honestly, Mets got rid of, you know, Diaz, sent him over to Detroit. I mean, they need to do something with that there. You pay a guy that much money, I expect results. I don't expect a 2-4 start there. So I think
Two
the
and
the
four start.
Tigers,
Definitely
they
rough.
gotta figure that out.
Another team that is a big dropper. Obviously, Stephen Kwan went crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
rookie sensation. 4-2. I mean, you want to expect a little something better. But what I want to head over to next, right, is the Dodgers. The Dodgers
yeah,
had a little bit of a rough week. They were shut out 23 of 27 innings, with 5 and 4 run innings, and nothing else in a win on Friday and a loss on Sunday. You want to see something out of a team that has so many good players. And I don't want to say adding Freddie Freeman to your lineup is a curse, but you definitely want to serve to set expectations in a way with a team like that. What do you think about the Dodgers, Koosh?
Look, I think the Dodgers coming off a World Series a couple of years ago, Freddie Freeman winning a World Series last year, they have the utmost talent, right? They have experience in the postseason, which is something that matters when it gets down to crunch time. And I think, Dave Roberts out here making claims we're winning the World Series. That's a bold claim, right?
Mhm.
The MLB is full of professional players. On any given
Obviously.
day, anybody can win, right? But I just want to say that, Kershaw just recently went 7 innings, no hitter through 7 innings. Roberts pulled him. And,
True.
and he had a low pitch count, 80 pitches through 7 innings. That's very low. So I think, look, it's early in the season. I get it.
Early in the
But
season.
you got a guy throwing 7 innings, no hitter. You got to let it go the
You,
distance,
you gotta you gotta keep them in.
for sure.
I agree. Let's talk about two other teams before we wrap up. I want to talk about the Yankees team, relatively close to us.
Hmm.
They had 7 consecutive games at home against the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. I'm going to get into the Blue Jays next. That was a team. I love the Blue Jays, but I think they're disappointed. Still a really good team, but
Yeah.
I just want to go into some things about them. But they won their first 2 games over the rivals. I mean, that's something that you love to see. And
Hmm.
Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, they were the first Yankee teammates to hit home runs in first 2 games of a season of all time. And that's what you love to see.
Really?
If you're a New
Yeah,
York Yankees fan, you love to see that.
for sure. Classic organization right there.
Classic, I mean, stand-up organization. But I wanted to head into the Blue Jays. I mean, there's no reason to, I mean, they're 3-2. There's no reason to worry about one bad outing from Jose Barrios. But one thing to look at is Hyun Jin Ryu. Is
Hmm.
35 years old, and he played pretty bad last season. So rough to see on the Blue Jays team that I love so much. But Kush, do you have anything else to add at the end?
I
Anything you
mean,
want
you
to throw in
say,
there?
Hyunjin Ryu with a bad season last year. I mean, he's also competing with the guy on his own team, Robbie Ray, who had an outstanding season.
Yep,
So I think, he's definitely a guy to look at. But a lot of people say Robbie Ray had a fluke season last year. Only time will tell, right? You got to see this season if he can
exactly.
repeat.
I'm going to finish off with my top 3 teams right now. I do have the Rays at number 1. I
Yeah,
have the Astros at number 2, and I got to keep the Blue Jays in top 3. I know 3-2. I got to keep them in the top 3.
love that. Love that.
What do you have in your top 3, Kush?
Top three. Look, I'm gonna be biased here. I'm gonna go to the Mets.
Okay.
I think, in the NL East as well, the Nationals. I think they're still another great team to look out for, and I think the Cleveland Guardians. Look,
Guardians a good team. Guardians a
name
good team.
change, new players. I
New
think they're
team.
another great team to look out for.
4-2. I mean, it's a good team to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's all we had to cover the first week of MLB. It was a really interesting week. I'm really glad MLB is back. Next Tuesday, I'm going to be covering fantasy. Who performed well, teams to look out for, players to look out for early on. Kush, I thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hey, thank you for having me on, and hope to see you soon.
Of course. Again, I enjoy everyone watching. Thank you so much. Tune in next Tuesday at 8.